really good job. Definitely some higher level games. Kids, excellent work with your communication. You guys did a great job of breaking down that 2-on-2. I think that we need to do better with our communication though, and naming bunkers. We're gonna get into that a little bit more tomorrow, but to me, especially if there's a lot of stuff going down, people shooting, snake wedge kind of could be confused with snake one, especially with some of you high-pitched voices that are out here. I can see where it could be confused with that. Also, snake corner, you should reserve the word snake and the words Dorito for when they're in the snake or the Doritos, because those are very important spots. You want to know when Kyle's in the snake. Not so worried about him in the snake wedge, right? Snake corner, you know, just only call the snake, and then call this the back right, the 5, the 1, whatever. And let's try to be a little bit more creative. You guys, what you guys call them, fire and ice or something? Fire and blue or something? Yeah? Fire ice. Awesome job, because that is indistinguishable from any other bunker on the field. Okay? And it's very simple. Everybody else, the other 95% of you guys, are as advanced as this is a wedge and it's on the Dorito side. What should we call it? Dorito wedge. I mean, it's pretty simple. What do you guys call it on your team? The Dorito wedge.
Rocket beta.
Cool. Bring that over to your new team. What do you guys call wedges on the Dorito side? Or bunkers that are Detroit. What do you call wedges or something on the snake side?
Seattle.
Cool. See how easy that was? Let's just be a little bit more advanced, and it's not like you're sharing trade secrets with the bad guys here. You know what I mean? You guys have promised you are not to that level.
I can't let him know.
Okay? Yeah, I can't let him know. And not only that, I don't know if you guys are being playing against anybody else too much in these leagues and everything. So let's make it so our communication makes sense, especially because there's just 2 of us, right? So if I can make one guy use my codes, that's going to make it easier for me. And it's not like those are incredibly advanced, right? Rather than making it more difficult for both of us. So again, let's share that information. You're having a rough day.
Bro, tell me about it. It's only on this field.
Like your feet, Nick.
He got shot in the nuts over there.
I know.
I saw that.
Then he got domed, and then he got shot again, and then he went out there and his gun was down.
Both of our guns were down that game.
Really?
And then while I got shot right in the heart.
Fat ball. That's all right. I've had that. Okay. I heard a bunch of you guys dry firing. I don't know what your loader just fell in half when you snap shoot. Like that's crazy to me that this is happening to everybody still. You guys have anything to add before we go to the next one? You.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, you guys,
That was bouncy.
the running shooting over here, it's just atrocious. And I know you guys could do better than you're doing. One is like, if you are gonna take a shot, like at least like as you guys are walking, bare minimum walking out here, look at maybe where you should be to shoot. So it's like, what I'm looking at on this shot, if I'm gonna shoot this wedge over here, is I wanna see me looking at, I'm not just looking at the shot, I'm kind of gauging through my peripheral vision where the corner in the can is. Does that make sense? So like, I know as I'm like looking at where my shot is, I'm like, boom. Even though I'm looking at the shot, I see where the can in the corner is, and I automatically know I'm in that right spacing. And that will also help you guys when you're, I'm sure Ryan probably talked about this maybe with some of the sliding, is like, we really want to get in the habit of like not having to look exactly where you're going to dive. You can kind of see it coming, and then you time your dive. So you can focus on what's most important and where the bad guys are. But like I saw guys trying to shoot this wedge from like back over here, and they're shooting on the outside of the can. Like I can't even see the wedge over here. So make sure you know at least where you need to be to have an effective shot. And then some other times too is that guy's going really fast, and there was like one ball somewhat in that vicinity from the back center to the can, and then the other ones were like snake corner, the woods over there. So just like you guys got to work on that. It'll make you really, really elite. And I think the other thing is just like understanding, looking at each other when you guys need to split guns, when zones aren't being watched, and when to take a bite. Like if you see if you're not being shot at, or if like you know your other guy, you can hear him battling with a guy on the tape over there, and then you see a guy flash through a move with his head down, I want to make a move off that. Like, you ever believe, like, if Ryan's in one of these spots over here and he sees me make a move into the snake, he's going to yell quickly that I just went to the snake, and he might make a huge move off of that. Like, even like maybe go all the way through the inside of the field if there's more bunkers and shoot my Dorito guy.
Jesus.
So, and that comes down to thinking it's like, it's a 2-on-2. In a 5-on-5, if a guy dives into the snake, it's a different story. You can't just freely move. But like, I'm thinking, if I see a guy jump into the snake, I'm like, well, I have at least 2 or 3 seconds as I see him leave to go dive in before he comes up and he looks at me. So do I want to reposition? Do I want to get a better angle? Do I want to try to make a move off of that? So just be on the lookout for that. More opportunities. Like in your guys, that last 2-on-2, or not the last, but the hopper situation point, who, I don't know who's in the, was that you in the other corner? I think you have some room to press. Like if you guys are there for a while, like, and nothing's really developing, you know, make a move off. It happened in your guys' 2-on-2 also. Like they decided to cross, you guys knew they were cross, you were already far up the field. I think you look to make a move. And especially you guys knew they were cross, right? I forgot who I was talking to earlier about. It's like, it's kind of like the first round in a boxing match. Like they're not really throwing blows. They're figuring out what the tendencies are. They go for a fake and then they see how a guy moves. If a team really, in the point, if 2 guys want to stay the same way for a really long time and they're not deviating from that, find the hole. There's a hole there. Let those guys just sit there and you get to a position, because it's like, when we're playing, it's like who can figure out the problem faster. If you're in your mind, you're like, I'm wondering if I should make a move, if I should do something, like you should have already done it. And hopefully they aren't already on that.
That's what we talked about, right? Be decisive out here, guys. Especially tomorrow, today, the rest of today and tomorrow. It's okay to make mistakes, but as we were talking about Parks, right? You wound up on that run across to the snake. You're like, okay, should I do it? I'm gonna do it. Should I do it? I think I should do it. Maybe I shouldn't do it. All right, I'm gonna do it. Here I go. It was like all this. You're kind of rocking back and forth. You made the move, and it was the right one. You should have just done it right when you thought of it. And this decisiveness, especially at practice, especially at these types of practices, it's okay to make those mistakes. We just want you to make them confident. Because if it works out, you're like, okay, step 1, achieved, good, that was a great one. If it doesn't, then you can start to pull it back and fix what the mistake was. But if you just hesitate, how many times have you been in a scenario or at the end of the day, you're like, damn, if I only made this move, right? A lot, right? So you want to be constantly pressing the boundaries of what you can do to find out what you can't do, all right? And then the same thing, you're like, I wanted to run the highway. I just waited too long and then I didn't. So let's make these mistakes now, because if you do it confidently, again, you can put the mistakes in one pocket and you can put the successes in the other, and then pull these out when you feel you need them, and then readjust and fix the other mistakes. But we got to be in a position to be confident enough to make those moves in order to be able to test that theory. Okay? You just kind of wait for too long. The other guys will eventually figure it out.
I want to give you guys one more little piece before we go into these next 2-on-2s. It's a little more advanced, but it's just something for you guys to think about here. As it is in these 2-on-2s, we're kind of like, we're all like playing. There is some good teamwork going on, and we're just trying to see, like, you know, who dies first kind of here. But if you get in the thinking of like, how can we double team a guy? How can we play a 2-on-1 within the 2-on-2? Does that make sense? Like, how can we combine to just take this guy off the field and let the other guy, like if there's a guy in the snake corner and he's not moving, your situation when you're in that Dorito corner, I would have just put 2 guns working on that, because I'm like, he's not gonna make a move on me. So maybe I'll come all the way up into like even your Dorito wedge, because I don't really think you're gonna move. That's why you have to change those levels. Like apply a little pressure, still make them respect that you might make a move. So you guys can use stuff like that. Like I saw a couple guys yesterday use the inside channel of the snake. If you're say you're snake 1 to snake 1 with a guy and he's just staying on the tape for like 30 seconds to a minute, maybe try to jump on the inside of the snake and come up and shoot that Dorito guy in the back. And then now it's just that guy left in the snake with your other buddy. So start getting a little more creative. How can we play a 2-on-1 within the 2-on-2? Cool? Nick?
The way I look at it, when you do I set up a drill like this, there's chapters to it, if you will, a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, parameters of the drill, you have 2 players that have to go to the wedges on the far side shooting cross. They have to do that. So you have a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunity out here as the runners to really dial in a good, in my opinion, a really good shot cross field at whoever's trying to shoot you. And so I would have liked to have seen a little more emphasis on that. And I've said this to a number of people. That's chapter 1, that's the beginning, you get to the corner. How many of you, when you got down here and ran to the corner, played inside on the person that already was shooting your lane? Like a zone at you? All of you? How many of you, when you got to the corner, did not come to the outside, you committed to a person who's already shooting at you? Right? The rule is that player going to that wedge has to shoot cross at you. So when I come out to this corner, whichever way I choose to shoot, I saw almost every single one of you get here and then immediately come into a lane of paint. Immediately, you came into paint. And for the life of me, I wouldn't. You don't do that. Bad idea. Get outside. You should know that guy is not going to be on the outside. So now you take this entire side of the field and you own it. You're going to feel the pressure from the same guy over here. And a lot of you are like, "What do you got?" Like, well, you know what you have. The players went to the wedges outside of an elimination happening. Why are you asking what you have? Be responsible for what's in front of you. Your people came to the insides of both corners and said, "Hey, what do you got?" I hate it when people say that. Like, say what you know. And in this case, you know that there's 2 people. You can look and see that your guy's alive. And if you're not hearing an elimination, okay, they're in the wedges. So I'd like to see a little more thought process in there, and to kind of wrap this up, building off of what Ryan and Kyle said. And Dave Youngblood, the owner of the Ironman, preaches this every time he comes to practice about being aggressive. You are not going to know a spot and how it plays on the field if you don't get to it and play the spot. So Ryan said this, Kyle said this, get to these spots, test these things out. Have a game plan when you come out here. It's not just, I'm going to run and shoot heads up at the guy going the wedge and I'll get to the corner. It's, I'm immediately going to go forward and get to the snake and try and go down as far down the snake as I can. Okay? You keep pressure on my snake guy on the inside. Keep people shooting at you. Once I get to the snake 1, the snake 2, then I'll come up and I'll establish communication. Or, hey, I'm going to go straight out to the Dorito corner. I'm going to go around to the tape. As long as my mirror's not on me, I'm going to take the wide step out and I'm going to go up. And I'm going to take as big of a bite as possible. You know, have a game plan going into it, not just to the corner and then I don't know. And that's advanced thinking, but these are the small things. If you put a little more effort into it before that horn goes off and you run out to a spot, it'll make you that much better. And again, you're not going to know it if you don't do it. You have to get to the spots and you have to play them. Because this is just a small sample of what will be taking place as we add a 3rd body, a 4th body, and eventually a 5th. Because you will find yourself in these scenarios playing man-to-man or playing at one person cross field. And it's better to learn it now than come Sunday where it's going to count. And that would be any Sunday going forward in any tournament.
Yes, sir.
We got about 25, 30 minutes before lunch. We're going to do another different 2-on-2.
Yeah. So this 2-on-2, what we're gonna do, we'll just keep it flowing with everybody right now. Is 2 players start in the same snake corner over there, and then versus 2 players who are gonna start in the Dorito corner over here. It's a full field drill, all right. But what you're trying to figure out is where do I press the advantage, or how do I plug the hole? Okay. What we're looking for on this one is, again, how you're going to fill out, how you're going to contain the bad guys. A lot of times people want to fill across and try to spread the field out. A lot of times someone would wrap that snake corner, stop anybody from moving, and get their second body down the snake as quickly as possible to put pressure on their Dorito, then start filling out to plug the hole from there. Lots of different options, but let's see you guys exploring as much as we can. Again, we only have about 25 minutes left before lunch is ready, so we're going to try to ramp this up. So in order to do that, at any point in time, when it becomes a 2-on-1, when we shoot, when one person is eliminated.
1 minute or 30 seconds?
I think we just make it 2 minutes. No matter what, I'll time it.
No. So it'll be 30 seconds. Okay. 20 seconds. 20 seconds to find and eliminate, because it is a big field. Okay. So if you shoot somebody off the break, we're gonna give you guys about 20 seconds to identify that, and then find and eliminate that last player. So if you are that last player, try not to die in that scenario. Okay. Okay. If you I'll even go one step further. If you lose a body off the break and you're in that snake corner, and you're the one guy, and there's 2 dudes all the way back here, if you die in those 20 seconds, you gotta run a lap, because they've got a lot of distance to cover to come get you.
And if you win.
You win if you're the one. If you're one body alive.
Another 2 guys got to do a lap?
Huh?
Another 2 guys got to do a lap?
No,
we don't.
No.
We had more time, maybe.
If it's 2-on-1 and there's like, they're bad guys in the 50 snake and both of them are right on top of them and they both die, then we'll probably yell at them too. But listen, just stressing the emphasis on being alive at the end, okay? Because we're gonna really get into that tomorrow. And in the interest, because some of those games lasted about 7 or 10 minutes. on those 2-on-2.
Do you have a question?
Do you have a question on that one? Does anybody have a question about this drill? Anybody have a question about this drill?
Off the box or
So no, you're starting in your spots. So you're both starting in that snake corner, and you're both starting in the Dorito corner.
same corner.
Both in the same
Okay,
corner.
I was asking the same question because you said if you get one off the break, I was like, huh?
You know now.
Well, so
Yeah.
what I mean by that is a lot of times a guy would die off the break because we would say go, and this person would be running over here and a ball would come over and clip them or something. So I'm talking about in the first couple of seconds if we lose a body, moving quickly into a spot.
On your feet.
So let's go get everybody loaded up and get on a side of the field and let's start running these.
Point.
This thing's a game changer.